Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go. I am living in Madrid with my kids for a month this summer, and we are nearing the end of our trip. And you know, something that I've been thinking about so much is all of the preparation that I did for this trip over the last really year. So much of the preparation I did, I didn't end up using. But I don't regret doing the preparation. I'm going to give you some specifics on what I did to prepare, but I just think there's so much parallel for this in business. And I want to talk about why we prepare for things in business. I still think we need to prepare. But someone told me really early on in business, everything you're afraid of in this next chapter of your business, when I was launching my business, when I was scaling my business, all those fears that you have, almost none of them will happen, but other things will happen and go wrong, right? And I think we want so much control when we do something big and brave and scary, right? I remember like at the start of my business, I was so scared that having my business would make me a bad mom. I was also scared that it would like be unethical and the BBC, the therapy board, would come after me and like revoke my therapy license. And like, I was so afraid of so many things, like my peers at the school that I worked at judging me, right? Like, what if, there's so many what ifs that we have when we do something big and brave and new and scary. So what do we do to counteract that? We prepare. And I'm not knocking preparation. I am like a preparer, right? I think about, well, let me start with Madrid and then I can go backwards. So like, for example, the reason I thought about this is I have a little burn on my forehead from my curling iron. And so I went to my little medicine thing that I brought with me for this month-long trip. And I was like, we haven't used anything that I have packed. And we're basically almost a month in. And I packed so much to prepare. I'm someone that doesn't love airplanes. I had some former past bad experiences. So I brought my anxiety medication, haven't taken any of that, didn't take any of that for the airplane, right? Like I brought, of course, like children's Tylenol and ibuprofen. And like, of course I can get that here too in Madrid, but like I prepared and brought a lot of medicine. I haven't used any of it except for that tiny little bit of Neosporin that I just used. But do I regret bringing that bag? No, I don't. I don't, for two reasons. Number one, should I need it? Should one of my kids have a fever in the middle of the night? I want to be prepared. I'm a prepared mama, right? But number two, preparing that giant Ziploc of medications helped make me feel confident for the trip. And ultimately, that's what I feel preparation does. Right? I think I told you guys when I first launched my business, I was actually pregnant, going on my maternity leave. So I batched 6 months of content. Was it overboard? Yes, it was. I really only needed to batch like 4 to 6 weeks, right? Learn that lesson. But do I regret doing it? No, I don't. Because what it did is it made me feel good to quit my job. And I think, when male business coaches give women advice, right, a lot of it is based around what is practically true in the world and is reality. When I think the truth is that as women, we really need to, I'm stereotyping, right? Like we really need to feel safe and secure in order to take action. And so I've really lived my life in that way, and what some people would call maybe like overly prepared or paranoid, or like in order to quit my job, I really wanted to, I doubled up and did my business and my therapy job for a little bit because I wanted to have a certain amount of recurring income. I wanted to have savings built up. Like that's what felt good to me. Do I support clients all the time that just quit their job and were able to recover their income quickly? Yes. But I know for me, I work from a place of security. It's why I always have a really large amount in my high yield savings. Because I know for me that even though it might not be the smartest thing as far as like investing your money in the stock market and like right? For me, when my nervous system feels at peace and secure, then I'm able to take a lot more risks and make a lot more money, right? So I've been thinking about that as I've been preparing, like even thinking about some of the plans that I made for Madrid. I did a lot of research on gyms and dance studios, and I did some of them. I went to some bar classes. I just went to the gym this morning, but I ended up doing, in some ways less here than I thought I would. And some of the research I've done, like in the moment, like today I did some research and tonight we're going to go to an escape room and a dinner and do some ice cream in the park and stuff. And I planned all that today, And I think in business, it's really the same. Even when we have plans, often we shift, right? Let's say we decide to launch something, then mid-launch, we decide, ooh, actually my audience is telling me this one thing. I think I want to shift the messaging or shift the timing. And here's how I want to frame this in business. The thing I'm so grateful that I learned early on is make the plan. Make the plan until you feel safe and secure and it feels right to you. I mean, it's never going to feel 100% right. Like I told you, I get myself to 80%, right? 80% security, 80% certainty. But then you just have to do it and you have to be willing to let go and throw away the plan. A lot of people aren't willing to let go and throw away the plan because it costs sunk cost, right? We're like, oh, but I made this plan and I'm wasting my time if I change things but I think the plan has served its purpose because it makes us secure enough to take action, right? I think about all the planning I did for Madrid and even the planning that I didn't utilize, I don't regret because guess what? It got me on the plane and it got me here. And then we just have to tell ourselves once we're here, are we willing to be present and change up the plan? And to me, like I told you, like I let go of my first Airbnb and ended up with this magical one, right? Like for me, I've done that mid-launch where I've shifted programs, I've shifted launch dates, I've shifted lots of things. And that's one of the beauty of being a small business is there's just really a few of us on the inside usually. And so we can shift without a lot of consequence, unlike big businesses, right? And I think for me, it's this duality of like not letting go of the meticulous side of me that likes to prepare, that likes to make a plan, that likes to, before a launch, have my emails pre-written, but then during the launch, being willing to cut emails out or write some content in the moment. And I think the online space, right, is just with more AI and with more people online, I think it's demanding more of this. I think us demanding us be organized. What does that do? It regulates our nervous system. But I also think it's calling us to be present in the moment and to make shifts and to cut things and to adapt. And I want to say like we're capable of this, right? We're capable of using that part of us that is good at planning and forward thinking. And we're capable of being that woman in the moment and letting go and trusting and innovating and creating. So what I want you to think about is like in business, like what's that part of you that needs to grow a little bit in this quarter, right? Is it the part of you where you're always flying by the seat of your pants, you're going to burn yourself out? Like you've got to make a plan, right? Like because the plan often does serve us, right? Not just in mentally preparing ourselves, but in like I think about obviously I had to like book a flight, book an initial Airbnb, right? Like book the language school, book research. I have been able to attend a lot of the things that I had planned as far as like the parks and stuff. The plan does serve us. And so being willing to not say like, oh, I'm going to change it anyway. And so why even plan? Or I think some of this can be too like a perspective of like, I don't even know if this is going to work out anyway. So like, if I don't really give it my full best, then if it doesn't work, I can't say like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're nervous to go all in on something sometimes, I think. Instead of I'm going to go all in, like this is mine, like with this Madrid trip, I really a year ago decided like this is mine. Even before I booked the plane tickets, even before I booked all the train tickets, right? I decided like, ooh, this is mine and I'm going to take action and I'm going to plan and I'm going to create my best idea of what I think it's going to be. Because like I said, like the logistics do help you, but also I think it just gives you the certainty to go into the unknown. And for those things that do change, you really feel like that past version of you took care of yourself, right? When I write a ton of launch emails in advance, when I'm in the launch and I'm feeling a little wonky, like, okay, I'm in that between that point of like everyone starts every launch at 0 before they fill it with 10 or 20 people or whatever, right? And so in that vulnerable part, that former version of yourself has your back. I think about this when I in my house, the kids and I, we do like a closing shift every night. We try to split up and divide and conquer. Some people help with the dishes, some people help with the night sweeping, right? And we wake up in the morning and we're so grateful to the people before us, ourselves, that did not the night shift, right? And I think it's like that big, beautiful future gift to yourself practically, but also energetically, so that the things that do change and shift, we feel really confident to shift it. And it's almost like you have to treat yourself like two different people, right? The person of you that plans and prepares, and then the part of you that's like in the moment, and you're grateful for that planning and preparing personality, but you're also realizing she's only half the magic. The other part of the magic is the woman that in the moment is like, no, this is what the present requires of me. This is what my audience is needing right now. This is what my clients are needing right now. And being willing to let things go, hold things loosely. It reminds me of sometimes like in session coaching a client, I'll have like an epic thought for the client, like a piece of advice or something, but the client is really in flow in how they're talking and communicating. And I really don't want to interrupt their flow. And so I'll just like take that super wise tidbit that I had in my head and I'll let it go. Or I'll write it down so I can send it to them later in Basecamp, right? And I think it's just interesting duality of knowing what the moment requires of us. And sometimes it takes the sacrifice of letting go of the best laid plans, of shifting and adapting, and not from a place of like being haphazard, right? I'm a big fan of like, once you write your launch emails, like use them, even if you feel like, oh, they're a little bit out of date, or like I'm talking about, like changing 1 or 2 emails, not like trashing all of the emails that your former self worked so hard to create. So I have like 2 bits of advice for you. Number 1, if you're that person that needs to plan more, that feels like you are constantly flying by the seat of your pants and you are not giving yourself the gift of thinking and planning ahead. With my clients, we create a quarterly plan, right? So we're planning for 12 weeks of marketing events and visibility and sales actions. Like it doesn't have to be a whole year situation. For my clients that are more advanced, we do plan a year at a time. That's how I plan in my business. But for you, it really might just look like planning for 6 or 12 weeks. Right? Looking ahead, giving yourself that CEO time to not be reactive, not just look at the things that are urgent, but look at the important things. And that is planning ahead. And for me, having a business coach helps with this because I share it with her, right? And so of course, happy to be your sounding board if you're looking for a coach to help you be more proactive. But I really feel like maybe even give that personality or version of you a name. And really ask yourself, how can you embody her? How can you invite her into the office more? How can you set an hour where she's not the one checking the email? She's not the one helping the clients, right? She's not present in the moment in your business. And I get that it's a lot of hats to wear, but it is so important that whatever we're going to name her, maybe we name her Rose, right? That Rose has time to do her work, right? That we are giving her full CEO time to be able to plan ahead, to think critically, to think clearly, to think strategically. I'm so glad that Rose worked a year ahead to plan this beautiful trip for my kids and I, right? That thought about the pros and cons of like, I first looked at like, which country are we going to visit? I knew I wanted to be a Spanish speaking country because a big objective of this is to have my kids work on their Spanish, and me too. And so, but there's a lot of countries that speak Spanish, right? And so I was really going through the pros and cons of like different countries, and like, so you have to start so big picture before you zoom in and decide things chapter by chapter. And like I've said before, like big dreams take time, big dreams take intention. And I don't think that's talked about enough. So there's that side of you, Rose, that's planning ahead and thinking methodically and creating pro-con lists and getting out her poster boards and strategizing. And then there's the other part of you, maybe it's Lily, let's go with flower names, who, she kind of takes the baton from Rose once she feels confident because Rose made the plan and prepared her as much as possible. But then Lily is the one that does the adventure. Lily is the one that is maybe not like a little more alive, but has that energy of creativity, and we can really enjoy her, right? I think we tell ourselves like we can only enjoy Rose or we can only enjoy Lily. But I don't know about you, but I enjoy both parts of me. Like I enjoy the part of me that's like, okay, now I get to, know that everything Rose did was worth it because it got me to this point. And now I get to show up and decide in the moment what is going to be best for me, for my family, for my business, for my clients, and really show up in that moment and shine and create, right? And be my full self. I think it's really clear too when you see someone online, whether they're a coach and you're in a group coaching session with them or you're watching some of their content, you can see someone that's really allowing their Lily energy because they aren't really like necessarily like following trends all the time. There's a glow in their eyes, right? And I know when lives or things are challenging, it can be hard to channel this, but it's almost like this energy of like not really caring about the past or future, not really caring about what others think, and just being true to your authentic self, what you know to be true to communicate. And it's, for me, a little bit more quiet of an energy. It's expansive of an energy. It's a listening energy. It's an alive energy. It's an awake energy. And it's very magnetic. Right? And Lily feels safest to show up when Rose has made that plan, because I think it's like she has the power to innovate and change and create, but she doesn't have to. She can fall back on that beautiful plan that Rose made if needed. And anyway, it's just something that I've been thinking about, why I feel like this month away has been so successful in many ways, and why I feel my business has been successful through the different iterations of the last 10 years of creating programs and launching and working with clients. I really feel like both those energies are needed. I feel like in the beginning, I really showed up with a lot of Lily energy because I was excited and passionate and didn't really quite see the goal of planning. And I think at the beginning, you don't need to plan as much because you don't know as much. And so I feel like a little bit less planning in the beginning is useful because you don't have as much history or information to be able to plan. But then I think there becomes a point where I realize like, oh, I'm also going to like run myself ragged if I'm always showing up as Lily. If I don't bring in Rose, who might feel a little bit like more boring, but really is like the backbone and that sturdy leadership that we need long term. Like we need her in the office. We need both people in the office. And so I think my reminder for you is asking yourself, which do you need more of? And actually block some time on your calendar this week for her. So if you need more time for Rose, really block an hour to be doing more strategic thinking and planning, to plan for the future, to map out your content, not that you're going to create this week, but that you're going to create for the next 6 weeks, right? To work on the clients that you're going to sign, maybe not necessarily this week, but if you have opening client spaces in 3 months from now, right? I really work about 6 months in advance to fill my client spaces. That's why I'm always fully booked. That's why I always have a wait list. It doesn't happen on accident or by magic or because I'm special. It happens because right now, for example, I'm promoting the wait list for spaces that aren't going to be open for months and months and months, right? And so that really is that beautiful little Rose energy. Or if you're someone where you do plan, you do research, you do get your certifications, you do think and overthink, really putting time on your calendar to show up in the moment. And I know that sounds awful, right? But really allowing yourself, an example of this might be to write a piece of content based on your plan on what you're supposed to be writing content about, and then post it in the moment. Right? Maybe you go on Instagram stories and you don't overly plan it and you do some Instagram stories with one take and you don't redo it, right? And you really play with this self-trusting energy of like, now that I have the plan, how do I really like show up, innovate, play, create? I love inviting my audience into this part. And asking them questions. A lot of people were asking, like, how do you really like connect with new people? And I have a few different approaches that feel authentic to me as heart-centered entrepreneur. I love, like, on webinars, like just asking people, like, where are you from? Like, why are you here? Like, what's like letting other people talk, you know what I mean? And I also love like asking for feedback, right? Like, hey, which country do you think I should visit next? Because I actually care. I think the goal is that it's like also authentic. Sometimes if I'm like going on a date, I'll be like, which date outfit should I wear, right? Like, people love to give advice, and I think we're over coaches that are just like, I'm the ultimate expert and you know nothing and I know everything. Like, it's safe for us to be the humans that have our own struggles, that share our own story, that ask for input. And people love to give input and advice and ideas. I love asking for you genuinely, what are ideas you have for the podcast? Like, where are you struggling? Like, and I genuinely want to know and create content for that. And so I think it's that Lily energy is present, is asking, is listening, is building rapport, building connection. And I really feel like both these together have been such a blessing for me on this trip, because like I said, like, not all the preparing I ended up doing, but it really got me here and got me to the place where I could play and explore and innovate. I'm so grateful for it. Okay, email me back with just the word Rose or Lily. I'm curious which you need to invite more into the office this week. And if you'd like my support with both of those, yes, please do join the 3-Day Entrepreneur Waitlist. I would love to consider you as a coaching client in this next chapter when the next cohort opens up. I just love supporting my clients creating 3-day workweek businesses, whether you're done for you or coach, and really helping you create 6 and multi-six figures in a way that feels spacious, in a way that you are planned and organized and have templates and systems and team, but you also are in the moment showing up so that you can make the most money and so you can enjoy yourself, so that you can relax and be present and experience the magic, I think, that comes from the flow of creating in the moment, right? I think there is some happiness that only comes from responding in the moment, though we can't always live that way, right? Okay, hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.